This show of hate, I'm joined by Elizabeth Neumann, former Assistant Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security and ABC News contributor. Elizabeth, how shocking is it to see banners flown from a freeway overpass in a major American city spreading these kind of messages of hate?
It really is heartbreaking to see, and yet not surprising. We have been in the middle of an uptick in anti-Semitic activity. We saw the Goyim Defense League doing stickering, which is similar to the activities we were reporting on, and they've been doing that quite frequently for the last few years, so this is just their latest effort. But certainly what Kanye is doing is bringing amplification to it that is rather disgusting and likely will result in violence. We just don't know where or when.
And speaking of that uptick, the Anti-Defamation League reported anti-Semitic incidents reached an all-time high in the U.S. last year, a 34% increase year over year. What do you think is driving this increase?
You know, it's hard to pinpoint. It is one of the oldest forms of hatred, one of the oldest forms of violent extremism. We often think back to World War II, but it goes far, far back. A lot of the conspiracy theories that we have been seeing on these leaflets, I mean, they are hundreds of years old. Some of the Bible verses that were printed on the sign over the freeway in LA, those have been used inaccurately by people for anti-Semitic conspiracy theories for hundreds of years. So it's hard to pinpoint why right now, other than we are in a 6-year uptick of domestic violent extremism in this country. So every form of conspiracy theory often ties back to Jews, unfortunately. And so anytime you see that increase in white supremacy, increase in other types of hate, you usually also see a rise in anti-Semitism.
And Elizabeth, one of the signs hanging over the 405 freeway that we just cannot ignore said Kanye is right. The rapper, formerly known as Kanye West, has been stoking anti-Semitic ideas in interviews. What responsibility do you think that he has in a case like this?
You know, look, this situation is tough. I don't know the specifics of his particular challenges. There's suggestions that perhaps he's not mentally well. But setting that aside, anytime you have a prominent figure like that, you're bringing attention and awareness to things that usually are on the fringe, usually you kind of push aside. He is giving it air and empowering these domestic violent extremist groups. We've been watching online chatter of people that are a part of these white nationalist, white supremacist groups, anti-Semitic groups, looking at what he is doing and viewing it as an opportunity. And so the concern I have, besides the fact that it's disgusting and intimidating and we just don't want it in our society, the broader concern is that usually these upticks then lead some very small percentage to go do something violent, and it's just very hard to predict when and where that might occur. So we really need voices of calm to condemn this rhetoric and say that is not who we are as a people, and that it will not stand. And you are seeing a number of political leaders say, come out and condemn this, but it would be great for Adidas to deplatform him and everybody as much as possible to deplatform this anti-Semitic rant that he seems to be on, so that it doesn't possibly incite somebody to violence.
It is undeniable that Ye holds a large platform. And you mentioned it, several companies have already moved to cut ties with Ye, including his talent agency, CAA. But the German-based sneaker company Adidas has not. They say they are reviewing their relationship. The ADL called the silence, quote, deafening and dangerous. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Anytime you're platforming somebody with that level of prominence and giving airtime to his rants, it invites people who are both disaffected and mentally unwell, as well as people who are just bigots, people who have hatred in their heart. And the thing about the violent uptake that we have been seeing over the last 6 years is that as more of this kind of hateful rhetoric is in the mainstream. A lot of political leaders have been using hate-filled rhetoric and us, them context and the way that they view policy and ideology. The more that you have that in the mainstream, the more permission it gives to individuals to think that they should do something, and sometimes that something is violence and it leads to death.
Elizabeth Neumann, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.